I cut the check, I cut the check, I cut the check. Tell my niggas we up next, so we up next. She shot a text, she shot a text, she shot a text. Kill the I might put the different day, put a nigga on that same shit. I've been ballin' with my niggas, Kevin Cambridge. Oh, you drippy, but you better tuck your chain quick.
What's good, man? We back with another episode. I just want to talk about the games that happened yesterday. The first one was exciting leading up to it. Then after the first quarter, it's pretty boring. Second game, amazing ring ceremony. It was actually really fun to watch that little 15-minute ring ceremony. And then overall, it was a good game. So it kind of made up for the first game being a blowout. But let's get straight into it. So my favorite player, KD, came back yesterday, along with Kyrie, who was hurt most of the year last season, along with Steph Curry, who was hurt most of the year last season. They were going up head-to-head, and that's versus the Warriors in Brooklyn for the first game. And I admit, the first quarter was pretty fun to watch. Like seeing KD come up, his first shot was this little pull-up three right in somebody's face, the most unguardable thing ever. Then his second shot was the fadeaway in the corner on two people. And then you see Kyrie mixing up everybody that was on him. It was really fun to watch. That duo was sparkling in the first quarter. But then you look at the Warriors side, they were kind of looking for shots. And they were getting their shots, they just were not falling. Andrew Wiggins had two wide open threes. Brick. Kelly Oubre had a wide open three. Brick. They were missing layups too. The Warriors they were getting the shots that they needed and that they wanted. It's not like they weren't getting the shots. It was just they were missing everything. And it was weird. Steph Curry was even missing, so I can't just blame it on Wiggins and Kelly Oubre. But I can say this is going to be a harder season for Steph Curry than I thought, because it's easier to double team him now. And Steph Curry drives to the hoop. Most of the time he's kicking it out to Clay or he's kicking it out to KD. Well, now you're not kicking it out to the two best shooters of all time along with yourself. You're kicking out to Kelly Oubre and Andrew Wiggins, who are average three-point shooters, sometimes below average. Yesterday was that day when they were below average. Wiggins was terrible yesterday. And I see him getting all the hate on Twitter and Instagram, and I understood it. But this is the hate that he's been getting for a long time because people want him to be that jump. They want him to make that jump. Coming out of high school and coming out of college, they were calling him Maple Jordan because he's from Canada. And then they were comparing him to LeBron. Well, I'm sorry, Andrew Wiggins was never like that. He was never like, you've never seen them type of players than him. So he has to live up to that standard because that's what the media gave him. Everybody thought he was going to be LeBron. Everybody thought he was going to be the next Jordan. So the fact that he's not that and he's nowhere near that, they call him a bust. But if you look at Andrew Wiggins' stats from the past few years, dude's been a consistent 20-point scorer. And it's been a consistent good playmaker. Just the other side of the ball is terrible, and he really can't shoot. But yesterday was just downright terrible. And in the beginning of the game, it didn't faze me. Then I look at my fantasy team, I was like, wait, I have Andrew Wiggins. The dude had -5 points in the second quarter. I'm like, dude, what the hell, bro? It was bad for him. Shooting terrible. He had like two travels, two missed layups. He was terrible. He was terrible yesterday. He started getting a little groove, and end of the third quarter, the beginning of the fourth quarter, but he was terrible. Kelly Oubre really didn't do much except that great putback dunk. He had some good defense in the first quarter, but the Nets just started blowing them out at that point. They were making everything. Joe Harris was just going crazy. I like what Joe Harris. I feel like Joe Harris going to use the Warriors. Steve Nash going to use Joe Harris like the Warriors use Clay, running off screens. Sometimes they put the ball on the floor. Joe Harris showed me a lot that he can actually put the ball on the floor yesterday. So that Nets team, I'm not gonna lie, it's first game. They playing the Warriors. The Warriors didn't have a good game, but that Nets team looks nearly unstoppable. DeAndre Jordan looks like he's the old DeAndre Jordan. And that's a valid statement. Like the last few years he was on the Knicks. Last year he was on the Nets that really weren't doing nothing, where they were competing for an 8 seed. Year before that, he was on the Dallas Mavericks with rookie Luka, so they really weren't doing nothing. The last time we really seen him compete was with the Clippers, and he was an All-NBA player. Not saying he's going to be an All-NBA player for this team, but if he's able to be a double-double guy, average at least 10 and 12, with a couple blocks like the old DeAndre Jordan did, that's a big part. If he's able to hold down the defense like he did yesterday, along with KD played some really good defense yesterday, this team will go a long way. With having Joe Harris doing what he did yesterday, just shooting the hell out the ball, and playing really good defense, that's going to go a long way. Before I get into Caris LeVert, I'm going to talk about the stars real quick. Spencer Dinwiddie just looked like he turned into a spot-up shooter, and for some reason, I do not like that. I don't, and it's kind of throwing me off a little bit. He had a couple times where he took the ball to the basket, but he only had 6 shots. If you look at his game chart, he only had 6 shots. So, I don't know what they can do to get him more shots because he is a 20-point scorer, but I don't think starting for that team is the right thing. He can come off the bench with Caris and they can go crazy with each other. That would be cool. But I don't know if starting him next to KD and Kyrie, who's going to get most of the shots, and then after them two, it's going to be Joe Harris to get the next amount of shots. I don't know if starting Spencer Dinwiddie is the right thing. Because you see when they put Caris on the bench, Caris will do whatever the hell he wants. That's his bench. And Caris is an amazing player. Caris LeVert is an amazing player. A player that can play 1 through 3. And he really thrives at the point guard. I love watching him at point guard. Him in the pick and roll. Him and Josh Allen on the pick and roll. They even got Josh Allen coming off the bench, bro. This team is deep. Torian Prince gives you great minutes. Jeff Green gives you great minutes. All that. This team is deep, but Caris LeVert just knows this bench is mine. He does whatever he wants. He doesn't have to pass, but he is a capable passer, and he does pass the ball. He draws a lot of double team in the paint, and the kick out is right there. But they had Jordan Poole on him yesterday. They both went to the same college, but he was killing Jordan Poole. He was killing their whole bench. Caris LeVert, like he's a quality. He could be a starter if they wanted him to, but him off the bench, I love it. I hope they put Spencer Dinwiddie on the bench too, because I feel like they can do great things on that bench. Because I don't. Spencer Dinwiddie is too good to be on the bench, but he's also too good to be a spot-up shooter. I don't really like that for him. I just feel like that's not him. And if they want to make him a spot-up shooter, I would trade for somebody that can be a spot-up shooter and bring elite defense. So, like, bring in Victor Oladipo. Like, do something else because I don't like him playing spot-up shooter. I like Spencer Dinwiddie too much to not really be doing nothing. Like it was like it didn't even look like he was into the game that much. Cause it's not him. He's not no spot up shooter. But the next team does look great. Steve Nash, his whole game plan just looks like go out there and get buckets and have fun. Cause that's what the hell they do. They have fun and they play with a lot of energy and they actually play really good defense. Kyrie was playing really good defense yesterday and he was killing. He looks like he can probably like poke his little head in there into the MVP race. Kyrie look like he's gonna have a big year. That's why I don't ever want nobody to get any injuries, but as an NBA fan, you know it's gonna come. But this year I don't want nobody to get injuries, bro. I don't, because it's just this season gonna be so beautiful to watch. Even though it was a blowout, it was still a fun game to watch. Like I said, Caris LeVert, he was on the bench, so he was playing while KD and Kyrie was on the bench. And it was fun to watch him play and just lead that bench lineup. And to see James Wiseman. James Wiseman had a really good second half. I'll get to that when I talk about the Warriors. But other than that, this next team just looks amazing. Jared Allen and Caris LeVert, that's a great bench duo right there. Jared Allen's another person that could start, but I actually like him coming off the bench with Caris LeVert because the chemistry that they do have, especially in that pick and roll, is amazing. But to the Warriors, like I said, it's gonna be hard for Steph Curry to have a great season where it's easy to double team him. I feel comfortable leaving Andrew Wiggins and Kelly Oubre on the 3. Until they prove me otherwise, I feel comfortable doing that. So it's easy to double team him when he drives sometimes. And sometimes the game slow down because, like I said, Wiggins is not a three-point shooter. So he wants those post touches because that's what type of player he is. And it slows the game down for them. And they're a team that likes to play fast, like to keep their shots up. and play with a lot of energy. But you can see yesterday it just wasn't there, and then you can see they were missing a lot of shots, and then that affected them on defense. They really weren't engaged because they were missing a lot of shots. It was bad. They were missing layups and everything. Everybody was bad. Steph Curry was bad too. But in that end of the third quarter, in the whole fourth quarter, James Wiseman looked really good. In the beginning, he had a couple. He looked like he was off a little bit in the beginning, but that's like he basically thrown into the fire. He didn't play whole training camp. He didn't play whole preseason, but he played. I want to say like Saturday in practice. That's it. He didn't play preseason. He only played 3 games in college, so he hasn't played a game in over a year and a half. And to be thrown right in the fire against one of the best teams in the league, you're going to be looking a little bit off. And he did, but he actually played really good even when he was playing with KD and everybody. He actually played really good, even off the screen. He had one little hiccup where it was so obvious what he was going to do. He wanted to drive to the hoop. So what type of player he is, he's a unicorn type player. 7'1" person should not be moving like that, bringing the ball up the court like that. That is amazing to watch. And KD knew what he was going to do. KD knew he couldn't slow himself down. So KD drew the charge like he did. But other than that, James Wiseman in the third and fourth quarter, that's when he started doing his own little thing. And mind you, that's garbage time. No starters was in the game except him. So you expect him to do that, and he did what you expect him to do. He had a couple good He had a 3-point shot, looked smooth. He had a long 2, looked smooth. Pick and roll with Jordan Poole. He had 8 points in a row, basically. Pick and roll with Jordan Poole, looked really good. Played really good defense again in the garbage time moments. So hopefully, when they get Draymond back, I feel like it's going to be different for this team because he's going to have the ability to slow the game down and run plays. And plus, they still getting the chemistry up. Like I said, Steph Curry barely played last season. You're throwing a rookie right into the fire. Andrew Wiggins came in when Steph Curry didn't play, so they don't have chemistry like that. Now they got Kelly Oubre, so they still getting chemistry. I still expect this team to make the playoffs, but I did have them as like a 5th seed. I don't know if I'll have them that high, though. Just off of, like I said, this is going to be a hard season for Steph Curry, and Steph Curry is going to need to do a lot for this team to be successful. That's why it sucks that Clay got hurt. But anyways, to the next game, Lakers versus the Clippers. Like I said, really good ring ceremony. And first quarter, they was blowing us out. The Clippers was blowing us out, and they did what they were supposed to do. Let Paul George play the point guard, and it was beautiful to watch. Like I said, my whole thing with the Clippers was they didn't do what they needed to do in the offseason, which was get a real point guard. But I never thought about letting Paul George play point guard, and he was able to do that. The game slowed down. It was easy to make his reads, and it was easy to set the ball up for other players. You've never seen a play where Pat Bev brought the ball up the court because he wasn't a point guard that night. And he had a great game. Like, he wasn't. He only cried about a couple fouls, but like he wasn't trying to get in your head and all. Like, he looked real focused. The shot looked good from Pat Bev. You seen him even take the ball to the cup a couple times, so it looks like he's trying to make an offensive impact because that's not really him. So that looked good. Kawhi Leonard was missing some shots in the beginning, but in the fourth quarter and the third quarter, he started getting it down. PG looked amazing. He looks like he's trying to come back to the old PG, the 2018, 2019 PG, the MVP PG. And he's trying to prove all the doubters wrong. And I tweeted, I was like, where all the PG love at? Because when he did bad, all the hate was there. It was all over the timeline. But when he was going crazy last night, you barely seen it. You didn't see nobody praising him for going crazy. And yes, it is the first game, but like, yeah, we're clowning him in the playoffs, but now he's really doing good. You don't want to praise him. But he had a really good game, 33 points. Really good in the pick and roll with Serge Ibaka. And he was killing in the third quarter. Yeah, like he went 6 for 6 in the third quarter. He was killing us in the third quarter. But we came back in the second quarter, made it a 2-point game at halftime. The way I'm looking at my Lakers, I'm looking like for the first couple weeks, LeBron's not going to try like that. Like, we were only down by like 12 in the fourth quarter, but they just sat LeBron for the last 6 minutes. And I'm like, any other player that doesn't really understand what circumstances we're in, they probably mad that we didn't try to win that game. But like, yo, we just came off the championship 50 days ago. This is the shortest off season of everybody's lives. So I understand why we weren't really urged. I mean, we weren't really trying to win that game. We realized we were down by a lot, and the reason why I said we weren't really trying, we would have brought LeBron in if we were really trying. AD even sat out when we was down by 15 points with 4 minutes left. He sat out. So that's how I know we were just trying to get back into the groove, trying to get back into game speed. They played everybody. Like, they played Paul George, Kawhi Leonard in the fourth quarter and shit. But we didn't play LeBron and AD that much because we just came off a championship, trying to rest up. So we might not be a 1 seed just because of that. Because like I said, we're gonna be taking. There's gonna be a lot of games like this where we're not gonna really be looking into trying to win the game if we're down by a lot, and we're just gonna try to rest because we did just come off a championship run. But we're definitely making the playoffs. We're definitely making the playoffs. I have no doubt in my mind. Montrezl Harrell looked good. Dennis Schroeder looked good yesterday. They looked like they had a couple little chemistry together. Kuz hit some shots. Everybody always wants to give up on Kuz, but my thing is, I never really. How do I say this? I never really get mad at Kuz because, like I said, when you play with LeBron, unless you're a point guard or big man, you're automatically gonna turn into a spot up shooter, and that's just what he is. So I can't really get mad at him, especially when he's on the bench. And when he's playing with the bench, we leave AD and LeBron in at all times. Either one of them in at once all the time. So even when he's playing with AD, you still got to get the ball out to AD. You still got to be a spot up shooter with AD. Like I said, you can only really do your thing if you're a point guard. That's why we wanted Derrick Rose so bad, because we know he can play next to LeBron. But yeah, I'm not really mad at Kuz. Like I said, I always wanted Kuz on a different team, especially when we got LeBron, because I know if Kuz was on any other team, Kuz would be going crazy. Kuz would be an 18-point scorer like he was his rookie and his sophomore year. But we got LeBron, so now you're a spot-up shooter. Dennis Schroeder looked really good yesterday. He was getting a lot of rebounds, so he looked really good yesterday next to LeBron. So I guess we are starting Dennis Schroeder. Yeah, that's really it. Marcus Gasol got in some foul trouble. Yeah, that's it. The best games come on today. I'm gonna have a better episode tomorrow. Really excited for the games today. And Christmas, a lot of great games from Christmas. But other than that, that's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow. And